Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out XCN's chart, and a lot happened in the last 24 hours. And unfortunately, the bearish scenario in here played out. So let's dive in and see what is going on. And if you remember the last time that we talked about Onyx, we were right in here. And the idea was that this is actually a huge ranging pattern, and most likely it is going to break on the upside. But before that, the price actually has a tendency to break down first and liquidate a lot of people that open some long positions in here in hope that we get a straight up. And then after breaking down, you are going to see a very quick comeback in order to get a breakout, which will be awesome. And so far, as you can see, the breakdown phase actually happened. And I think it was in the previous video that I talked about opening some positions in here. And I said I basically divided this area by 10. And in each step, I put a long position already. So all my longs actually got activated. And I also managed to buy just a bit more around, let's say, I think it was 0.87, 0.86, but I did not manage to buy the lows down here about 0.7 of a cent, because the exchanges, in case you missed it, yesterday were absolutely down. And I saw some tweets that say we managed to buy the lows. So if you have, please let me know what exchange did you use to buy XCN. I would really love it if you say what you did, because again, I wasn't really that lucky. Now, what is going on at the moment? First things first, I want to make one thing very clear. I do not believe that this was a normal move on the downside. Why? Because on Liberation Day, on April the 2nd, let's just actually zoom out a little bit more. Where is April? There we go. It's actually right in here. So, as you can see, on Liberation Day, we basically got, yeah, about like a 13% move on the downside. However, yesterday we got what? I think this was about like a 40% move down. No, it was actually about a 35% move. However, Liberation Day, in my view, was actually like a much bigger of a day in terms of news and events. So I don't understand why this move down happened like this. And in fact, in a lot of other alts, for example, if you check out Gala, I think in there we got like an 80% move on the downside, which is insane. So let me just tell you this. I do not believe this is actually a normal move down. And why do I care about this? Because usually when we are getting a massive liquidation event, after it, we are going to get a bounce, but then the price actually has a tendency to go near the lows or even like take them by like a very small margin. And then we are going to have the real bounce back that we all expect. However, because this liquidation event, in my view, was not normal, sure, in XCN, now I'm going to say, yeah, I do expect maybe a move down coming soon. Let's go on maybe 15-minute time frame. Maybe we are going to do something like this. However, I do not expect XCN to go all the way down here about like 0.7 of a cent. And again, the only reason for this is because I don't really think this is actually real. In my view, there probably was some shenanigans going on, so I'm not going to count on like a massive move down from here, let's say like a 30% move. I do think, however, that we are probably going to get a move on the downside, and here is one possibility. Let's just zoom in more. Okay, so you see, I think we can say that starting from probably this high, excuse me, this is ABC down into A, this can be ABC up into B, and we may end up getting, probably I'm gonna say in the next week or 10 days, a move down into our C leg, preferably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in order to take these lows maybe about 0.85 of a cent, but then I do actually expect a rather strong bounce. Now, here is the situation. In the previous videos in XCN, we talked about this unbelievably important support so many times, and as you can see, we still haven't gotten a break of it. Why? Because if you remember, this was from weekly time frame, and if you want to say that this region is broken, you need to go on weekly chart, see a candle close under here, then pull back, then a continuation. And so far, we don't even have the candle close. And here is the thing. If you remember, we also talked about a very important gap right around here that was created as a result of this specific move up happening way too fast. And I said, I believe gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So for instance, if from these areas we get a move on the upside, I'm going to be a bit uneasy. However, thank God that that didn't happen and we got a move down first and fill the gaps. Now, why do I care about this? Because now I'm going to say, look, in XCN, we really do not have any unfinished business down here. And in fact, from this point moving forward, I'm actually going to start bottom hunting a little bit. And I want to be very clear, that doesn't really mean that I'm going to buy the lows. No, I'm just going to buy the dip in a couple of steps. And you are just simply not going to see me buying all at once. That is going to end really badly for us. Now, what is going on in this area? You see, in XCN, I still believe that we are having a beautiful downtrend, and this is a great looking descending channel. And what happened recently, even if you want to consider the shadows in here, well, okay, you can comfortably say, look, all we just did was just reach to about the lower band of our descending channel, and it's probably time in the next couple of weeks to get maybe a move down, but then a move up in order to get to about the higher band of it. And I think the next time that we get to here, most likely we are going to get a break of this thing, meaning we go above the higher band of the channel, do a pullback, and then get a continuation of the move up, which will essentially confirm that we have indeed hit our final low. And this can be hopefully the start of another uptrend. But in terms of Elliott waves, something quite interesting played out. You see, again, if you want to assume that this shadow actually happened, then okay, let's just hide everything. As you can see in it, we did take this important low. And why do we care about this? Because the idea back in the day was that we are having 5 wave up into a wave 1, followed by a correction for wave 2, and we said in the next phase in XCN we can expect a good move up into wave 3, 4, 5, and now I think we kind of have to ignore this count a little bit. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that we should be overwhelmingly bearish. No, in fact, I would still like to argue most likely we are dealing with a correction structure down. Now I'm going to say into this wave 4, and the difference between this and the previous scenario are twofold. Number one, building a bullish setup, and by that I mean having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by a correction down is going to take some time. So as you can see, I'm not necessarily in that camp who believes we are going to get an immediate bounce back and start the next phase of the bull run. I think you need to give this some time. And point number 2, relative to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the next phase of the bull run in XCN is actually going to take less time. So let's have a quick conclusion. In XCN, I don't really believe that a whole lot has changed given the recent move on the downside. In fact, we still haven't broken this very important support area. Now, what if in the next couple of weeks we end up getting a continuation of the move down, meaning we go under the support, get a candle close on weekly time frame, and then do a pullback and a continuation of the move down? At that point, I'm telling you, from here to about this point, yep, expect like a 50% move down in XCN in order to reach to about the next important support all the way down here between 0.2 to about 0.4 of a cent. Do I think this is going to happen? Nope, not really. It's not going to be my primary case. I do think most likely we have actually hit our final low in Onyx coin. However, this doesn't mean that we are going to go straight up. No. Right now, I think you need to be a bit patient, and in the next week, maybe expect a bit of a move on the downside, but then I'm counting on having in here a 1 correction for 2, followed by a decent move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5, and then after it, a consolidation pattern. So I'm gonna say probably in the next couple of weeks, maybe even 4 to 6 weeks, we are not overall on the net going to do a whole lot. We're just going to stay inside of this channel, and then when we build a bullish setup like this, and by that I'm talking about, excuse me, having 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, then it's going to be time to get a massive breakout into wave 3 and 4 and 5. So for now, we need to be unfortunately a bit more patient, and I really would have liked to see a massive move up in XCN soon, but again, that really goes to show you that the market doesn't really care about what you, I, or for that matter, anybody else thinks. The market does what it does. We are just here to analyze it. And the moment that you realize that, you are going to have a bit of a sense of humility, and that will make you consider different possibilities at the same time. And in that scenario, you're not going to invest in like one and one only project big time all at once. You're just going to manage your risk. And with doing that, overall, you are going to actually end up making a good amount of money. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Onyx Construct. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.